Hello and welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. A special welcome to our listeners on love101.org. And if you're overseas and on the move, US listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you're in the UK, 0330-332-6541. Or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. The show is available via the app up to a week after broadcast. In the first watch today, increasing murder rate, causes and concerns. In the second watch, what really is the mark of the beast? For a social media question we ask, what are some things you have heard being referred to as the mark of the beast? Please leave a comment on our Facebook, YouTube Live at Love 101 FM Jamaica, or WhatsApp 876-997-3125. We'll share your responses later on in the program. But before all of that, here's I quote.
This morning's I quote, violence is a disease that corrupts all who use it regardless of the cause. Chris Hedges.
Yes, indeed, violence is as much a disease as COVID-19 is. Good morning.
Good morning, man. How are you?
I am well. And you, my brother?
Oh, we're Men in Black today.
You said it before me, you know. You said it before me, and we didn't send out any memo or anything.
No, not at all.
Yeah. This is good. This is good. By the way, we're talking about the mark of the beast in the second watch. What's your take on it? What really is the mark of the beast from Siobhan's perspective?
I don't know.
So you don't know?
I don't know, because I mean everything is the mark of the beast.
Everything. Yeah. It's kind of frightening.
Yes, it's frightening. You really don't know.
Yeah. Well, I guess you're going to be keenly listening to the second watch.
Yes.
Especially this morning.
Yes.
And I join the listeners to listen to both watches because we're discussing some very, very important issues in both watches. Have a good day, Shivani.
You too.
Listeners, the first watch will be back after this break.
Munchie!
Yes, Master Oliver.
I'm heading out now. Straight to Cars Auto Montego Bay.
The entire Jamaica is heading to Cars Auto.
About variety, I there. And the vehicle them clean as a whistle and the price right. A two where them say good quality, best price.
Cars Auto.
Chris and Charles has something special for you this and every Friday at 11:45 a.m. Listen to the information carefully, then answer the questions in the Chris and Charles Financial Quiz Corner. There is so much to learn and you can win something fabulous from Chris and Charles. That's the Chris and Charles Financial Quiz Corner, Fridays at 11:45 a.m. Chris and Charles, when you think loans, think Chris and Charles. And it's on the family station Love 101.
Hey, psst, come closer. I want to tell you my secret. My son wears his favorite shirt for everything, and no matter how much he runs, jumps, and plays, it always looks like new and smells really good. My secret? I use Suavitel Superior Care. Keeps my family's clothes as good as new. Suavitel, as soft as a mother's love.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. It's now time for the main watch. Pressure is mounting on the government to respond to a surge in violent crimes, with murders increasing by 8%. Yes, 8%, listeners, when compared with last year this time. And the word on the street is that we are plagued by two big C's, crime and COVID-19. So what are the causes and the concerns? What are we going to do? Well, to discuss these issues, we have joining us online Senator Lambert Brown and Mr. Richie Dickey Crawford, social commentator. Good morning to you both, gentlemen.
Good morning, Rev. Morning, Dickey. Morning to your listeners.
Hey, Lambert. Morning, everyone.
Yes, good to have you both with us. Gentlemen, we are discussing a very, very serious issue. But before we go into the probable causes and possible solutions, what are your opening thoughts in regards to the increased murder rate? That is the 8% when compared with last year this time. Beginning with you, Mr. Crawford.
It's a sad reflection. It's a sad figure to talk about the increase in the murder rate.
Yes.
Gone up by a basic 8%. But at the same time, unhappily, one is not surprised. We have not been able to control, nor do we seem to want to be able to control the situation in our country. The murder rate in Jamaica, unfortunately, has always been high. Too high for a country with our outstanding values and charms. But nevertheless, we can't let that delude us. We have to face reality. If we're ever going to have a chance to solve the problem. The murder rate in Jamaica had its foundation, or let's put it this way, crime and violence had its foundation in the political system. The divide between the two major political parties reached to high levels of interruption and activity in the 1970s and 80s. I think basically people felt that once we got rid of Michael Manley, because he was supposed to be this communist clothes or socialist clothes, everything was going to be okay. Michael has departed the stage for some years now, and the situation has become worse than ever, and ever that he was ever here. So that was not the real reason in any case. What has happened too, you mentioned the whole issue. Companion piece to that has been the failure in our promised economic system. Let's be very frank. When 30-40% of your population lives on the borderline of poverty, when people wait for 30 years for water, 30 years for electricity, when people are bulldozed off of land that they have been living on for 30, 40 years, that does not improve the quality of life. That does not improve family life. It makes it worse, and there are no seeming, the financial system does not seem to be able to cope with. We had the big promise about 5 and 4. It's not working. But wherever the economic system is working, let me be very clear, it does favor a minute group in the country. There's no doubt about that. They are making excessively unusual profits at this time. Out of that, basically, gangs have consolidated because you talk to the ordinary young man on the street and they don't know where their next breakfast is coming from. And then the option in such a situation is you turn to some activity that's going to feed you. And that turns out to be crime and violence and trafficking in guns, etc. All of that, in my mind, has brought us to a point where we have lost our values, our sense of values. Where are we going? And on top of that, the COVID-19 is a sort of unwelcome addition to the problem of the people. When you can hear President of the United States of America, as I saw very recently, it was shown to issuing a warning or a friendly outreach to the government of Jamaica that they had better be careful because what is happening in Jamaica could really extend itself and become somewhat of what has happened in Haiti and other countries. I'm not saying we're the only person in the world,
Mhm.
because the murder rate, or rather the crime rate, or rather the rate of opposition to economic and positions and political positions shows that the countries around us in particular, and that is quite interesting, are becoming more aggressive and more self-determined. When you see Barbados reaching to the stage where it has reached now, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines and all like that. So we're basically, Jamaica is in the center of a troubled situation. That's where we are. And it explains to a large extent our murder rate. But it's really bad, really, really bad. Sometimes I wonder what's the purpose, because I see children being murdered. I see mothers being murdered. I see family members being murdered. This is crazy.
Yeah. Well, let's bring in Senator Brown. Senator Brown, your opening thoughts on the matter.
Well, let me start by saying what a country we are. We did so great in the Olympics, and I want to commend all the athletes, those medaling and those who participated. They brought such joy to the country. But on the other hand, the criminals, the murderers, are bringing such mourning, such destruction to our country. I watched the television news last night, TVJ. A mother, age 26, murdered in front of her 3-year-old daughter, who then walks several meters at 2 a.m. in the morning, 2 a.m.
Yes.
to go and contact other relatives. Can you think the trauma that child will suffer for the rest of her life, remembering what happened to her mother? An 8-year-old boy playing football, watching football on Sunday morning, gunned down.
Mm.
An 11-year-old watch her mother being slaughtered in St. Mary. A family, we saw in the papers this morning, murders in Gregory Park. 3 murders over a short period of time. We saw the stories in Montego Bay. In other words, throughout Jamaica, the trauma is being spread. The violence has taken over because they're too many guns. The police will set out to get the guns. If you get the guns, these people would be alive. And that's part of the feeling of the state, to be able to get the guns, to identify the gang members and really target the gang members, because those are the 2 major sources of killing, the gangs, the guns. And yes, there's some domestic element in it as well. But I recall, and people should never forget, that in 2015, the Prime Minister made a solemn promise to the country. I will do better. Your opening rev is that it's 8% upon last year. Well, last year was higher than any period before 2015 in the last government. So we're in a bad way. And the government has said, well, it's the state of emergency that will solve it. But even with state of emergency, murders have been worse than when there's no state of emergency. And so the government essentially is saying we need a method that is not in keeping with the Constitution. That's not good for a country where the Constitution no longer rules, because I can then cut your ear because you are a Rasta. I can then lock you up and say you must apologize because you criticize some official of state. It's a slippery road that we're looking at. I'd like to see the government holding to their promise of allowing us to sleep with our doors open and wake up and still be alive, because we have zeroing and tackling crime.
Okay, hold that thought, please.
Problem. Let me just part of our problem is our police.
Wet break.
Demotivated.
Wet break, Senator. Wet break.
Demotivated.
Yeah, Senator.
We have police officers. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Could you hold that thought? We're at break. We'll be right back.
Sorry about that.
This is Love 101 at 7:15.
The world is full of job opportunities locally and overseas. Let us bring them to you. Register now at Distinction College, located at 2600 Park Road, Kingston, 6 Nugent Street, Spanish Town, and Ocho Rios. In 2 to 3 months, earn local and international certificates in housekeeping, food and beverage, food preparation, receptionist, and customer service. Qualified to work in hotels, cruise ships, restaurants, and businesses worldwide. No subjects required, no age limits, no entrance test. Day, evening, and Saturday classes begin very soon at low school fees, easy and flexible payment plans. Call us 356-4167.
Enjoy the new Protex. Same protection, but now enriched with natural flaxseed oil. Eliminates 99.9% of bacteria naturally. Protex, for the good health of your skin.
We're committed to reducing the impact of disasters occurring in Jamaica. Hurricanes can happen, so be prepared.
The excitement continues, and so does our Youth Fellowship Takeover. Hi, I'm Shivani Blair, your Youth Ambassador. And this Friday, I'll be in Trelawney. I can't wait to see you. I'm coming to a church near you. That's the Faith International Harvest Church. All COVID protocols will be observed. The Isle of Summer Youth Fellowship Takeover is sponsored by the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean, fostering leadership and innovation. Shade Purified Drinking Water, drink up, stay cool. Distinction College, providing opportunities for you. And Gideon 3000.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint, and this morning in the first watch, we are discussing the increasing murder rate. We're looking on the causes and we're expressing concerns. And we have online Senator Lambert Brown and Mr. Richie Dickey Crawford, social commentator. Senator Brown, before the break, you were expressing your thoughts and concerns.
I was about to say that a big part of the problem is that the police force is demotivated. The country, I don't think the country knows that majority of the police officers, sergeants, corporal, down to the constable, that the overwhelming majority of those are earning less than $1.5 million per year. Contrast that with a commission of $18 million. You begin to get the feeling that they're saying those who are getting the big money should be the ones fighting crime. Yet the persons who must fight the crime, who must go out when they are caught in the patrol cars, who must face the gunmen in the field, are those lowly paid people for whom one infraction leads to income, another leads to internal investigation. And I'm not against discipline. I'm simply saying the police force feel overwhelmed and the criminals feel bold. That story on TVJ, the murder happened after 1 o'clock. That's curfew time. But the criminals feel that they can move curfew or no curfew and destroy the lives of people, traumatize the children. So I don't get a feeling that there's a serious anti-crime plan, because in Chicago, they have set up systems to identify who are the gang members, who are the likely next victims, so they can be proactive.
That's not being done? That's not being done in Jamaica?
Take the Gregor
intelligence?
This intelligence may be there, but is it sufficient? There's intelligence to tell you, if I criticize the Prime Minister, they can find me, even if I'm under my bed. But you're hearing in the Gregor Park case where there are 3 persons who have died in a few days. That is extortion. Then we ought to know who are the likely perpetrators of the extortion. And we need to make life difficult for them. Make it impossible for them to carry out the extortion. You hear in another community, oh, it's gang, it's this gang versus that gang. So who are the members of this gang and who are the members of that gang? And then let's target them. I don't feel that happening in my security apparatus, and so the criminals are winning.
Should Dickey Crawford, Sir Crawford?
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, you see, when I saw the figures, the 8%, I sort of side. And then when we thought of having this as a topic for discussion this morning, began wondering, I'm sure that persons are going to be saying, we have been talking about this for donkey years. The same ideas, same suggestions, but nothing positive has been happening. How are we really going to cauterize this crime monster?
You're going to have to make a decision. You're going to have to deal with reality, Reverend. What Lambert was saying, except I add to that yes, our intelligence doesn't appear to be working very well. But the point is this: how much intelligence do we need? For the past 30, 40 years, at least give the media some credit. They have done articles and writers have made stories and have pointed out and have been able to name the leading gangs in Jamaica. The gangs in Jamaica are not unknown people.
Right.
Our leaders,
right.
Our political leaders, our police leaders, our social leaders all know who they are, and they know who they are. And this is a major problem. I think they obviously, in one sense, our gang leaders and gang members and that operation has become emboldened, because if I'm a gangster out there, if I'm walking in Spanish Town with a gun in my waist and one over my back, what intelligence do we really need to know that that is a gang member?
Right.
And worse than that, during the period of time of a former commissioner of police, we actually went to Haiti. A team from the police went to Haiti to look at this issue of the trafficking, so to speak, in ganja and guns between Jamaica and Haiti. They met the people who control the guns in Haiti. They knew them. They saw them. They came back and made that a public statement. And if that is the case, how come nothing has been done to cauterize that? An American official, with all due respect, in fact, let's put it this way. You know, the FBI has increased in over recent years, double the amount of people that they have had in Jamaica at the American embassy to help us fight crime. And yet still, you will hear an American official saying from time to time, but we have asked you, we have said that if you are willing, we will come and help you. We have not made any overtures to the American.
Are you advocating for that? Are you saying we should now ask for more overseas help in this regard?
I'm tempted
as a sovereign nation.
Purpose. Asking for overseas help in any problem, certainly you're getting it to have to try to deal with the whole issue of COVID-19, which in itself is also another management follow-up. Going to overseas is not the panacea. It's not to get rid of it.
Right.
It sometimes is an escape route. But what has happened is that, unfortunately, the discussion on the street, which does not reach to the news media officially, it's frightening when you hear people talking. The ordinary people on the street know exactly what's happening, but they are in a dangerous situation. If as they are asked to come and tell the police who the gang members are, they are literally signing their death warrant.
Right.
You don't get any...
So you're saying corruption, Dickie. Exactly. Corruption in the system.
So are we going to roll over and die, gentlemen? What are we going to do? I mean, it's years now, years. And we're saying the same things every year.
Well, let's put it this way. Those who are undertaking the task of leading the state and say we will solve the problem must be held accountable for solving the problem.
On both sides of the political divide. On both sides of the political divide.
On both sides, yes.
Yes.
Question about that. But let me tell you, there's already overseas. We hear about Israeli spy network that is the government has secretly agreed to. We have heard of other arrangements that exist. So there's already a lot of overseas involvement. What I think is absent is data collection at the base station. In other words, if I am in Buff Bay, the police in Buff Bay must have a sense, or in Anata Bay, or in Central Kingston, must have a sense of who the players are in this police zone. Who are the potential criminals, who are the friends of the police, and begin a targeted intervention. But you require data, you require trust. And you know who have a lot of data, Rev and Dickie? The criminals. They know which policeman to go to. And some of the members of the security forces are corrupt. So we're in a dilemma. So when you have weak leadership, absence of data, and let me share this with you. I sat in Parliament in a committee reviewing the Zozo legislation. And what was apparent to the minister, to everybody on both sides, is the absence of data. You can't say Zozo in Zone A or Zone B is successful. You know why? We don't know what existed before. So whereas in track and field, you can say answer parchment ran X and he ran Y another time. We don't know that in our community, so we don't know which school is outputting what. So we can say, well, since Zozo has come, it has improved because this is what it was. We don't have a lot of data. And data, if you can't measure something, you can't do it. And that's a big part of the problem. So we have to move to data collection, data analysis, and using data to determine the outcome we want. And so when we get at 8%, it's 8% over last year, which was too high already.
Yes. Yes. Dickie, Mr. Crawford?
I've heard a stirring speech from the head of the narcotics division in the police force. Absolutely laced with data. And the point he made was awesome. He said that he was speaking about the infiltration and what we all see as the recent renewal of the cocaine trafficking business through Jamaica. And the head of the police anti-narcotics branch spoke to all of that and indicated that the amount of money that is available and flowing on the street guarantees a pardon or an escape route for everybody in the trafficking business. There was a famous case of a person working at the airport who came through the airport on a day off, expecting that since that person was well known to everybody, he'd be given, a green flag to go through or a white flag to go through. It turned out that somebody, at any rate, took an interest and searched this individual. Millions of dollars of cocaine sitting in a wheelchair in which that person was. The situation is not good, Reverend, let me tell you.
Yes.
It has reached a point too, and I'm happy that Lambert is here. I know if he doesn't.
30 seconds, Dickie. 30 seconds.
Yes, there's too much of a wrong crowd of investors parading in Jamaica and creating unusually bad, making a bad situation worse. It is really bad. It's not just the police are disappointed. Doctors are migrating. Teachers are resigning. Nurses are resigning. What kind of society are we going to build with that?
I don't think we're doomed. We need to do the right thing. When Syrians are being investigated for illicit enrichment and nobody knows who it is, and the criminals are going to say, well, if them can do it, I can do it too. We need better examples. We need moral leadership that says,
okay, we have to leave. Yes, we have to leave it at that, and we have to call sin and return to the Lord. That is the ultimate solution. Gentlemen, thank you so very much. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Have a productive day.
All the best.
Listeners, the Morning Watch will return in just a moment.
alone, helping you on your journey. Roll out and make a statement in your brand new vehicle.
The Time by JN will help you find a way is 7:30 on the Sound of Love.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready for Berger's Shopper Showdown. That's right. Buy any 2 gallons of Berger eligible paints at participating hardwares and the Color Shop for a chance to win a $200,000 hardware supply shopping spree. Plus $20,000 supermarket vouchers every fortnight. Simply text the code to get your chance. Promotion ends August 14. See press and social media for details. Berger, for lasting beauty and protection.
Have you heard? Gideon 300 School of Intercessory is now open for registration. The school is for you if you have a call of intercessory on your life and desire to become a mature intercessor. Its specialty is teaching and deliverance, and it provides an environment where you will learn theoretically and practically. Visit the website at www.gideon300ministry.org/school-of-intercessory for more information.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's take a look at the newspapers to see what Jamaicans and others are saying and doing. And we are combining the news coming from both the Observer and the Gleaner. Woman asking court to compel police to return ill common law husband. And also on a sad note, well-known Montego Bay clergyman, Pastor Knowles King, has died. We also see on a sad note that 13 more COVID deaths, 13, with 334 new cases. Another sad note, another nurse dies from COVID-19. And we see also that new school year to begin with virtual classes, says the Ministry of Education. Those are some of the main headlines in our newspapers. Coming up next, we'll read for you some of the feedback from our social media question. What are some things you have heard being referred to as the mark of the beast? Please leave a comment on our Facebook, YouTube Live at Love 101 FM Jamaica, or WhatsApp 876-997-3125. Soon come back.
You're invited to listen to Dollars and Cents every Thursday at 8:16 a.m. We'll give you tips on how to make your money count, how to save, and how to grow your worth. It's all inside Dollars and Cents, brought to you by BPM Financial Limited, taking you higher. That's Dollars and Cents every Thursday at 8:16 a.m. on the family station, Love 101.
The excitement continues, and so does our Youth Fellowship Takeover. Hi, I'm Shivani Blair, your Youth Ambassador, and this Friday I'll be in Trelawney. I can't wait to see you. I'm coming to a church near you. That's the Faith International Harvest Church. All COVID protocols will be observed. The Isle of Summer Youth Fellowship Takeover is sponsored by the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean, fostering leadership and innovation. Shade Purified Drinking Water, drink up, stay cool. Distinction College, providing opportunities for you. And Gideon 3000.
Is your partner clingy or jealous or protects themselves by remaining distant? Do they believe that you think the worst of them and fear you leave? So what can you do to prove that they don't need to worry? Well, when it's nice, you gotta do it twice. Listen for the rebroadcast of the truly marvelous program To Have and to Hold this Thursday, August 12, with host Colleen Beckles and guest Pastor Napoleon Black, as they take a look at dealing with an insecure spouse. That's a rebroadcast of To Have and to Hold this Thursday, August 12 at 5:30 p.m. on the family station Love 101.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's now join Shavoni for a look at how our Facebook and WhatsApp friends answered today's question. What are some things you have heard being referred to as the mark of the beast? Shavoni.
All right. So Faith says everything new is the mark of the beast. She says
everything.
She says COVID. She says NIDS. All right. Let me see now. Tamika says the main thing, the mark of the beast, TRN, because it's a number. She says LOL. All right. This one says the mark of the beast is found in Revelation 13:18. Here's wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 603 and she has 666. All right.
Right.
I think that's, let me see if there's another one here before we, okay, no. All right. Let's keep the conversation going.
All right. Thank you, listeners and those who responded. Thank you, Shavoni, as we looked on the whole matter of those responses to the feedback question. Well, it's time for the second watch. I know I'm reading Revelation chapter 13, verse 11 and 16 to 18 from the NIV version of the Bible. Then I saw a second beast coming out of the earth. It had two horns like a lamb, but it spoke like a dragon. It also forced all people, great and small, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads, so that they could not buy or sell unless they had the mark, which is the name of the beast or the number of its name. This calls for wisdom. Let the person who has insight calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and that number is 666. Revelation 13:11 and 16 to 18. So what really is the mark of the beast? To answer this and other related questions this morning, Reverend Newton Dixon, President of the Jamaica Council of Churches, and Pastor Christopher Johnson, General Secretary of the Charis Foundation. Good morning to you both, gentlemen.
Good morning, good morning.
Morning, Brother Dylan. Morning to the listeners in the radio space.
Okay.
Good morning, my brother.
Yes, Pastor Christopher Johnson. Yeah. All right, gentlemen, before we drill down into that Revelation 13 passage, let me ask you both up front. Do you believe that NIDS, a cashless system, or the COVID vaccine is the mark of the beast? Beginning with you, Pastor Johnson.
No, not at all, not at all.
And why not?
When looking, we have to look at Revelation 13. First off, we need to identify who this beast is. And clearly it says that it is a man, because it says the number of a man. So looking at that, and his number is 666. What we need now to do is to find out what is his mark. And so from that, there is no conclusion from Revelation 13 or anywhere in the Bible which would suggest a COVID vaccine or even need being the mark of the beast. However,
none at all.
Yes, none at all. However,
yes,
the manner in which some of these things are implemented, they show characteristics of the beast, which speaks to force. And later on, as we go, we will explore more.
Okay. I hear you, Reverend Dixon. Is it NIDS? Is it a cashless system, or is it the COVID vaccine?
None of them. Unequivocally, none of them. Absolutely none. And in the instant case, let me say it is not the COVID vaccine.
Why is it not the COVID vaccine, Rev?
Pastor Johnson laid a good foundation in terms of how we can approach the reading of Revelation chapter 13 and that particular verse 17 and 18. And the issue of interpretation also comes up, but let's not get bothered by that. But my reason for saying this is that I do not see any congruence at all between the application of a scientific benefit for the common good and the imposition of a mark or a system or a measure that destroys human life as the ultimate end of the mark of the beast is supposed to be.
But the argument out there,
in the relationship,
the argument out there, Rev, is, as I'm hearing, is that more and more on a daily basis, we are seeing where persons are going to be forced that if they do not have this, if they have not taken the vaccine, they will be unable to access certain entities. Perhaps it will affect their occupation, their abilities to board a plane, to go abroad, and to do many other things in society. That more and more we are getting this situation becoming a reality. And they are believing that now is an indication. If it's not the mark, it is on the pathway to the mark of the beast.
I am not of that view. I'm not sharing that view at all. I'm of the view that it is the flip side of an encouragement to social responsibility. Now, it may be uncomfortable and inconvenient, but the other side of that conversation is, can we find a way to cooperate in a context where the only way to overcome a very clear existential threat is by doing so together? And our understanding of this virus is that there is no way that each of us on our own will beat this thing. It has to be all of us together. The flip side of that is that some people have taken the exercise, the prerogative within the space that they control to determine who comes in that space. And so, for example, in the interest of protecting clients or members of their organization, they insist that you have to be vaccinated to come in. It, to me, is just the other side of the same conversation that says let's all be socially responsible.
Well, and we're drawing close to the break, but I must ask you this, Reverend Dixon, as president of JCC, that we're understanding that the JCC now is going to be on board in encouraging persons to
I'm losing you for a minute.
Yes.
Dialogue.
Say that again, Rev. You broke up a little.
Hello?
All right. So let's take the break and then we come back. Hold that thought, Reverend Dixon and Pastor Johnson soon come.
Did you say so winnings and everybody know this? Some feel like cash and prizes. Million every week, make a running for the niceness. Call 142 for the richness. DJ, bongs. Digicel and make a rich together. DJ, bongs.
Make we rich together with Digicel. Just call 142 or dial star 142 $ for a chance to win your share of $42 million in cash and prizes. Each entry costs $100. From now until September 14th, make we rich together with Digicel.
Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming, and Lotteries Act.
The first sound they make is to simply let the world know they're here. And then it's our duty to help them show the world why they're here in the first place.
Give them every advantage with the Guardian Achiever, a plan that provides for their educational dreams and protects their health and life in the process. For more information, call 888-4LIFE to speak to an advisor or visit myguardiangroup.com.
This is Love 101. The family station is approaching 7:46.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. We're discussing the mark of the beast. We apologize for that technical glitch which occurred a while ago. And I believe we still have online the Reverend Newton Dixon, President of JCC, and Pastor Christopher Johnson, General Secretary of the Caris Foundation. Reverend Dixon still there? Pastor still there?
Yes.
All right, yeah. Right, Dixon, before the break, I was asking you about the JCC's involvement in encouraging persons now to actually take the vaccine. Now, there are persons who are asking, is it wise to encourage the taking of a product for which there is no legal redress? Should there be adverse reactions to the product?
All right, let me preface my response first by saying that the JC is not only just now becoming a part of and promoting the vaccination program. We've been there from the beginning. JCC has been a member of the National Vaccination Commission when it was since formation, which was several months ago. And we have been actively throughout our member churches and local congregations speaking about, preaching about, having meetings, town hall meetings and so on concerning vaccination. I just needed to make that qualifier. But the answer to the question is that fundamentally the question of a vaccination is a personal one. And so that introduces a whole gamut of considerations, ethical considerations, and you pointed to the legal aspect and so on. And so my position, and I think I can say the position of the council, is that we all look at this from all sides, look at the issue from all angles, no pun intended, and make a decision that is in the, to use the language of the Roman Catholic, His Grace Archbishop Kenneth Richards issued a statement of encouragement to his parishioners, using the phrase "the common good." There are aspects of this thing that are troublesome. The legal aspect you just highlighted, the issue of side effects, so that's the medical / epidemiological aspect and so on. But we all must look at all the facts and then make a reasoned decision as to which is the best course of action to take.
And that's going to be the message. That's going to be the message from the churches of the JCC, basically, right?
Yeah. So while we underline and underscore the efficacy, so one of the facts about this thing is it is efficacious. It does what it is purported to do. It helps to repel sickness and death if one encounters the virus, and so on. We underscore that, we underline that, and we put that out there. In the final analysis, we encourage people, therefore, based on the facts that we have at our disposal, that this is a safe vaccine, and we encourage people to get vaccinated.
Okay. All right. Pastor Johnson, what really, from your perspective, sir, is of the beast?
All right.
We have said what it is not. What is it?
Okay, so in answering that, we have to go back to the Bible.
Certainly.
Revelation 14, verse 8, and another angel followed, saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine, the wrath of her fornication. Then the third angel followed, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast, and his image, and receive his mark on his forehead or in his hand, if any man worship, jump back to Revelation 13, verse 12, and he exercises authority of the first beast in the present and caused the earth and all those who dwell in it to worship the first beast. Those deadly wounds were healed, whose deadly wound was healed. So, and there are other things. When we look here, what is constant is that the beast is demanding worship. And if we do further, yes, go ahead.
What's the mark? What's the mark then?
Yes.
Why hit the nail on the head?
Yes, so if we go on and on, we will see that worship, false worship, is the mark of the beast. False worship.
False worship is the mark of the beast.
Yes.
So that has been going on for such a long time. So the mark is already here.
No.
Oh, it's not?
No. But he caused both great and small. So hence, the beast, as it were, exercises authority. His authority now is a decree that you must worship on a particular time, on a particular day.
Oh, yeah.
Not worship.
The mark of the beast is the day. Sorry, Pastor. I just want to be clear. The mark of the beast is worshiping on a particular day.
It's total worship, right? I don't want to spin it there. Right? If you do not worship on a particular day at particular time, how I instruct you to worship, then you will be confined. You won't be able to buy. You won't be able to sell. So, as we said, in establishing the mark of the beast, we have to look at who is the beast, what his characteristics are, and then we will take from them. No, so it is important to note that nobody has the mark of the beast as yet, until there is a decree from the beast himself saying, this is the day that you must worship on.
Okay, all right, I get you. All right, Reverend Dixon, your take on that. What really is the mark of the beast, or what really is the mark of the beast?
I don't know that we have certainty on the symbolic statement. I'm sorry, that the writer of the Apocalypse presents in these narratives. And one of the things I can say is that we've had a very disappointing history of pronouncements as to what the mark really is. All through history, I mean, we just identified 3 from our own recent context: NIDS, COVID, TRN, and so on. I have an interesting story I'd like to share, but maybe for another time on the TRN story. And just very brief to say, I was standing in line to collect my TRN, and we got to number 665. And the lady in front of me stepped out of the line. So you know who stepped up and collected the number and stepped away and go about his business. But that's a story for another.
That's
what I think the text is pointing to is a part of the problem we have as Christians with how we deal with situations of oppression and evil, and what comfort we take from the hope we have in God's conquest of evil, of the conquest of good over evil. I don't think, and this is just my view, I don't think the real consequential issue in this text is the mark.
But what is it? But what is it, though, Pastor? Rev? What is it?
I'm going to tell you. I'm still looking. I am still to be convinced that the mark is anything that is something out of
literal.
Our. I'm sorry.
Is it to be taken literally, symbolically?
Exactly. That's my point. I'm still to be convinced that it's something literal. And I won't claim to be a scholar of the Apocalypse. I am not. And I talk to those who spend more time with it, and I'm still not convinced that it is something literal.
It mentions the forehead and it mentioned the hands. You know, what's that all about?
The book of Revelation is symbolic from the first word to the last.
Yeah.
The beast, the scrolls, the seals, the animals, even the words that are used are symbolic. And I alluded to this issue a little earlier. The issue of interpretation of the book of Revelation is, I think, the first base that we need to address. Because if I am to propose to you what a thing means from this book, we have to first agree on what method of interpretation we're going to use in dealing with the book of Revelation.
Okay. Yeah, Pastor Johnson wants to come in.
Yeah, that is an interesting point because, you know, you have different methods that are used. When we look at right hand and forehead, we know that the book, as Reverend May said earlier on, it is symbolic. The symbolism of right hand speaks to your strength, right? So it is your actions that you will take, and your forehead is the seat of intelligence. So it's not a literal mark, but it will.
So how you link that? How you link that, Pastor Johnson, with the day of worship? Okay. That's what I'm having a difficulty, you know.
So the action you will take to worship the beast, and the forehead is the decision that you will make. So your hand is the action, and your forehead is the decision. So when you receive the mark, it's the action. If you look, God also sees his people, right? If you look at Revelation 14, it says, "Then I look and behold the Lamb standing on the mountain with him 144, having his name written on their forehead." So the forehead again is the decision.
So what is 666? What is 666, Pastor
666
Johnson?
Is the number of the beast, not the mark, because Revelation 13 makes it clear. His number is 666, not the mark, but his number.
And what's that today? We're supposed to look. Are we to look for a literal 666? What is, if it's symbolic? What is it symbolic of?
It is symbolic of the beast.
No more
representation of who the beast is.
No, but why 666? Why not 665, 664, 465? Why 666?
Well, let him understand, calculate the number of the beast. That is his number. I can't tell you why, but that's
Reverend Dixon, any response to that? Why 66? What's that about?
I won't venture into that, Brother Dylan. The text, I go back again to the issue of how we're going to unpack this book. The text says, I'm in a slight disagreement with Pastor Johnson. The text says, let him understand and calculate the number, for it is not the number of a man. But just above it says the mark, the name, or the number, which suggests that the three are the same. The mark, the name, the number. So I think what we probably could propose to do, Brother Dylan, is bring on some of the scholars who have done the work with Revelation and help us to unpack the mark, the name, and the number of the.
No, what we see here, all are characteristics of a man, you know. So, for example, you say that you're tall, you're slim, they are characteristics. So, his name is this characteristic, his mark is this characteristic, and his number. It's like a TRN number, it's a characteristic of you. So, it speaks to the man himself, the beast.
Okay. Well, careful now when you say like the TRN, you know, because persons believe that TRN is the mark of the beast.
Right.
Careful now.
The TRN is not the mark of the beast.
Okay.
Not at all.
No, gentlemen.
I'm not saying, I'm just giving characteristics.
We have to leave it there, gentlemen. So thank you so very much for joining us this morning. Have a wonderful day, and let us all be careful and beware lest we get that mark of the beast. We don't want that at all. All right? Bless you.
Bless you too, my brother. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you, listeners, for being with us. Please join my co-host, Mr. Stokely Marshall, next week, Tuesday, as he continues to set the stage for a discussion of topical and controversial issues. This has been the Morning Watch. Thanks to our producer and our guests. I'm Dylan Toussaint, reminding you to be purposeful, faithful, thankful, and watchful as I hand you back to Love in the Morning with
No take the mark of the beast in your hand and carry. No take the mark of the beast. 666. For if you take the mark of the beast, you have no share and part with God. 70 weeks are determined upon your feet.
Alrighty. This is love. I think Frames Connections given a little challenge this morning, but thank you so much for listening. It is 8:01. It's time for the program Forward in Faith, brought to you by the Portmore New Testament Church of God.
69. 1 week the Lord will return to